Ladies and gentlemen, in this RedGamingTech.com video, I'm going to be showing you how to create lightning. So, all I've basically done so far in this image is drag a new image on top of a layer that's already in the background, but you don't need to worry yourself about that. Any image will do. I'm just using one that I happen to take myself winter last year, I believe around January time, and as you can see it was snowing in England. But anyway, this is going to be fairly simple to do and fairly quick. So first thing you're going to need to do is quickly click on the new layer icon. That will create a new layer. You can use keyboard shortcuts, of course, you're more than welcome, but for this one I'm going to be using a more visual approach, and then you can simply grab the gradient tool. You're going to be needing a black to white gradient, so standard gradient, nothing amazing there. Now, this is where it gets a little bit complicated and you have to pay attention just a little bit. Basically, the thinner the gradient, the more straight, but the thinner the lightning is going to be. Okay? Now, if you choose a thicker gradient, it's going to be more kind of thicker and wavier. You'll see what I mean once you've done this yourself. This is one of those things where it's kind of an art more than an exact science. You're going to need to play around with it and kind of figure out the exact values. So anyway, I think somewhere like that is going to do us. It doesn't really matter what way's which. So it doesn't matter which way you drag or anything like that. So anyway, here's where the magic happens. You're going to click on Filter, and then you've got to go down to Render, and then you've got to make sure it's difference clouds, not regular clouds, or it won't work. So you just want to click on difference clouds, and you can see right there what I mean. It was a fairly thin strike all the way down. Now obviously that doesn't look quite right, so we need to basically change this. So this is white and the clouds are black, and to do that, obviously the easiest way would be to image and then adjustments and then click on invert, and you can see it looks a little bit better now. So not exactly what we want by any means. So what we're going to do now is click on image, adjustments, and then the easiest way to do this will probably be levels. So the good thing about levels, if I find it, there we go, is it allows you to basically clip parts of the black and white. So all we're going to do is just kind of strike it down like that. We want that to be burning a little bit brighter. Now as you could see, I could have it really thin like this. It's more like a crack that way, like a crack in a rock or something like that. But we don't want it to be quite like that. Now this is more like your fuzziness value. This kind of, the grey value. I can't actually remember what it is, but it's basically the pivot point. And you're going to want to just kind of play around with this just a little bit. You don't want it to be the grey values. You don't want them to be too low because it doesn't quite look like lightning. So a little bit of fuzziness is good. So you're going to kind of want to play with this depending on exactly what you need. And there's also some noise there, but we'll worry about that in a moment. So I think that's reasonably okay for my particular lightning strike. Still doesn't look quite right though. For one, it's covering up all of the background, which is not exactly ideal. So for this, of course, we're just going to quickly click on this for this layer, which is the blend mode options, and you're just going to click on screen, which will drop out all the blacks. Is basically what it comes down to. And there's a little bit of gumph there. Now the easiest way to do this, in my opinion, one would just be the eraser tool, or we could just quickly create a layer mask by clicking this icon there and just pressing the brush key and then just brushing that out. I think that should do. So it doesn't look exactly perfect, but it's not bad. Now we're going to click on this, which is obviously the layer again, because mine beforehand was the adjustment layer, the mask layer, and that's not what we want. Now we need to click on this little icon down here, which creates a new fill or adjustment layer, and it might be slightly off screen, I'm not sure, but you're going to want to click on hue/saturation, which adjusts the colorings of the image, if you will. And to do this, we're going to quickly click on colorize, and you're going to want to adjust that from the pinky red hue to something more light, like a bluey color. And that should do it, somewhere around there. and then we're going to bump up that saturation a smidge. Now you don't really have to worry about the lightness on this one. You can see that if you blow it up, it's just going to not really affect the lightning at all. So 0 is fine. However, that affects all the image as a whole, and that's not really what we want either, right? Now you could create a layer mask or something like that, but that's just, you know, a lot of work. The easiest way for this is to go to the layers palette, which is right here, and hold the Alt key and simply click, and you can see that little thing appears when you're right in between the two layers, right there. If you just click, it will basically clip that effect only to this. So all the other layers are no longer affected by this. So you can see it creates kind of a coolish looking lightning strike. Obviously, you are now more than welcome to play around with the hue, you know, more like that maybe, or something like that. It's up to you. And obviously, you are also welcome to, you know, adjust the directions of this. Now, obviously, it is clipped to that. It's constrained, as you can see. So let's say, for example, we wanted it to kind of come from the side just a little bit, and you could maybe do something like that. And then you could, for example, there is this layer mask here, so you could then just, I don't know, let's just zoom in on just a smidgen, just to make it look, you know, somewhat reasonable. You could just kind of do that behind the trees or something, if you really wanted to, you know, spend all the time. But anyway, it's not going to look perfect because I'm not going to be spending that amount of time on it. You could also do some other cool stuff as well with this, mostly with transforms, which add a bit more organicness into the lightning strike. As I was saying earlier, though, what really this boils down to a lot of, if I just quickly create a new layer, and I'm going to nuke the old ones just by hiding them for a moment. I'm going to just quickly do these steps real fast, okay? So, what do? We create a gradient, okay? I'm going to make this a lot thicker this time. I just want to illustrate the difference, and then I'm going to go up to Filter, Render, Difference Clouds happens to be at the top, so we don't need to worry. Control I, Control L, and then all we have to do is just bump that all the way. Now you can see the difference. If you don't make it too thick this time, and you make it a little bit thinner, it happens to be a little bit more wavy, and then you could obviously screen that and do whatever you need to do, and that would look a little bit different to the previous effect. And indeed, if we bump that down one and we turn that on and we make that one go away, you can see the difference. Go away, lightning strike. Yeah, let's just pull you under there actually. Pull that one down. There we go. That's more like it. There we go. So you can see the difference. It looks a little bit more rigid. As I said, this is one of those effects you're going to have to kind of play around with. It's not exactly 100% realistic or anything, but it's just cool and dirty. It's really good for illustrations or just adding a bit of cheesiness into an image. It can be actually look really good if you spend the right time on it and mess around with the lighting and compositions. But that obviously requires a little bit of, you know, thought and stuff, and also maybe, for example, kind of reducing the opacity and that kind of thing. So anyway, this is just quick and dirty. It's by no means the only way to create lightning in Photoshop, but this is probably one of the easiest techniques and just good for a bit of fun. So anyway, hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video, and once again, I'll be putting out more of this stuff in the not too distant future. So take care of yourselves. Bye for now.